Morning, my brothers and sisters. Today we celebrate the memorial of St. John of the Cross. And again, in a season that's getting darker and darker each day, light in the darkness describes the life of St. John of the Cross, as well as his spirituality. Because he, with St. Teresa of Avila, were reformers. Both Carmelites, in the day and age of which they ministered, their Carmelite order was all over the place. And John of the Cross and Teresa of Avila was trying to bring them back to their roots. And to bring them back to their roots, they were met by their brothers and sisters in personal attack. Their fellow Carmelites couldn't stand them. John put under house arrest, but he escaped from house arrest by his own brothers in the Carmel. And he pursued the case of reform, and he enabled it to take root with much hard work and with God's grace. But other than that, St. John of the Cross is also known as a great spiritual director. He's a doctor of the church. At his greatest spiritual working, he was a geographer of the dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul, which we have all been in some way, shape, or form. We have all experienced dark nights. Job loss, disease, death of a loved one. St. John, though, speaks even of a deeper darkness, called the dark night of the soul, when even we feel that God has set us adrift, because he was there. He was there. And he speaks of this dark time, if we choose it to be, as a cleansing. A time to make, that we can take a time to become spiritual mature. As we learn not to take our faith for granted, to look beyond emotions, and to look for signs of God's presence. And in another way, become more deeply one with God. He uses the analogy of wood. Very simple things. He uses wood being consumed by fire. And if you ever looked at a fireplace, a natural fireplace, the fire dries out the wood. It evaporates the water. It expels all the moisture, anything that's resistant. But finally, the wood becomes as beautiful as the fire itself. All the ways that the wood is trying to fight the fire, it becomes one with it. And just in the same way, St. John said the dark night can burn out egoism and allow one to be more open to God. And in no way does he say the dark night is easy. It can be the most difficult times of life, but it can transform. Because yesterday we celebrated St. Lucy. Some see the dark only as a loss of light. But St. John of the Cross taught that the dark night can be a period before a great spiritual morning. So during this time of light in the darkness, Advent candles, Christmas lights, during this time of the year, so many are affected by depression or isolation or addiction and various forms of spiritual darkness. Not only is it a rejoicing time, it's also a very sad time for so many. May we especially remember them today, that all may embrace the fact that one can certainly be a Christian without the dark night. But with the dark night, with steadfastness and God's grace, in the dark night, one can also become a saint. May God bless you.